very excited to name Adam Foote the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. The job he has done, the relationships he has built with the players and the staff. His pedigree as a player speak for itself, but the way he's worked with the players here over the last 2.5 years was something that we felt will continue to embrace here. So that being said, congrats, Adam, and
thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it's I appreciate the opportunity, and very exciting day for myself and my family, and looking forward to this new challenge and this new chapter in my life. And this is a great hockey city in Vancouver. I experienced that many years ago after we used to come in here and get beat up pretty bad by the fans playing in Colorado. They didn't like us too much. We were very lucky to have a great player that's from the area, and Joe Sakic, that would put a pounding on Vancouver most nights when he was here, and we enjoyed that in that time with Joe. But I would say after winning an Olympics, getting an opportunity to play for your country is pretty special. And walking around Vancouver, we thought, here they come again to give us a hard time. And I got stopped by some fans, and they thanked us. And right there, I looked at Vancouver real different, and I looked at Canada and the way hockey's huge here. It's very big, and I understood that a long time ago. Always enjoyed playing here, and I loved coaching here. And I think this city wants to win, and it's nothing but what we all want to do. So it's very exciting times for me.
Adam, congratulations. As Patrik alluded to, you've been here for a few years, so you have some relationships with the staff and the players. How much do you think that gives you a leg up as you take over as the head coach?
Yeah, I think that's an advantage for sure. Had 2.5 years to develop good relationships and with the players, the staff. Very familiar with how how people like to be treated, or how they tick, or what makes them go, what makes them doesn't. And I think that's a huge advantage for sure. The relationships that I've had and developed in that time.
When it comes to building out your staff now, what are the priorities for you in terms of what that looks like, whether guys will stay or move on, and who you might want to bring in?
Yeah, I really like the guys I've worked with here. And, obviously we're going to have to grab a couple more coaches. And, I'm trying to figure out how to get that Murphy bet. I know Talk didn't bring it in his office, but I heard someone did. But that's my first thing on the docket, get rid of that. And then we'll have discussion about what coaches are going to come in. But we have pretty good ideas.
Going off of the relationships that you've talked about with these players, we've all heard what Quinn Hughes has said about you. How would you describe your relationship with the captain?
It's good. It's healthy, and that's the way it should be. It's nothing like all our players. It's fun. These guys want to win. When you play at this level, there's tremendous pressure, and when you're young, you figure it out, and you want to put great leadership around them to help them get through that and grow. And we have a great relationship, but I would say, a lot of I got closer to some D, obviously being the D coach, more conversation, but. Quinn and I, we didn't have a discussion during the process, which I think very, very good idea not to. And I just had a great talk with him this morning, and we had some laughs, and we're excited to move forward with this.
Adam, you've had an incredible career full of lived experiences, but you don't have a lot of head coaching experience. I'm just curious, how do you reflect on your brief time in Kelowna, and what, if anything, can you sort of take from that and apply? I know it's different levels, obviously, and it was a few years ago, but what do you take from the time you did have behind the bench?
Yeah, I've been lucky to coach at different levels, and Kelowna was a great experience. Things didn't work the way I would have liked to work, but I think I grew a lot from that. Bruce Hamilton gave me a great opportunity there. It was good for me. I'm not sure I would be sitting here today without that experience and learning from it. And that was a long time ago, and there's been a lot of growth. I've been surrounded with, great people. And, when you're surrounded by good people, if you can listen and learn from them, you can move on and keep getting better.
If a new head coach come in from outside the organization, they may have looked at a healthy Thatcher Demko and thought, that's my ticket. I'm going to ride this guy. Bruce Boudreau played him a lot. Rick played him a lot early on. You have institutional knowledge of all that Thatcher has been through. You've got Kevin Lankinen as well. How do you look at your goaltending, and how do you make sure that that's a positive so that Thatcher's workload is regulated?
That's a great question. I think we're very fortunate to have these two guys. I really like how it was handled at the end of the year. I thought it was a smart move for Thatcher, the way our staff, let him take that time. He's had a lot go on, and in saying that, I haven't had this conversation with him. I mean, I remember having 5 surgeries of my own in 2-year span, and getting back for the Olympics, getting back for World Cup, getting back for Stanley Cup, and I will call out and reach out to him. He's a huge part of this team. I really enjoy being around him and Lanks. Can we have a better set of 2 goalies? And obviously, I'm going to use, Patrik and his staff has put in a great, our therapists and our people that take care of the players and the workloads. So we're going to use that knowledge and manage it the right way so that we can give him and our team and fans, our city, the best Thatcher. And Demmer's big, and I love him as a goalie, and we got Lanks there as well. So I think it's a great tandem, and we'll manage it as best we can and do the right thing.
One for each of you. We'll start with you, Adam. First of all, congratulations. And a lot's going to be made about lack of experience. So for you, is it important to have some more experience on the bench with you, potentially a former head coach as an assistant?
Yeah, I thought about that question was going to come, and I would like experience, but I want the best. If I and our staff believes that the guy that we want is the best and the best for our situation and works with me well, that's who I want to go with. And whether he's got 5 years, 3 years, or 15, in a perfect world, yeah, we want an experienced coach with us, and that would be the ideal thing. But I'm confident enough who we choose, and we've got a few guys in mind. It'll be a great fit.
Patrik, the Quinn effect, and Adam said he hasn't spoken to Quinn during the process. We know earlier Quinn said that Adam's the best coach he's ever had, and there's certainly a lot of thought about what's going to happen in the next year to put you in a position to maybe extend Quinn. How much was the Quinn effect at play here? Did it matter in terms of this hire?
Well, I haven't even spoke to Quinn in this process either. I know Jim informed him when Rick was leaving, but again, it's not about one player. It's about the team here, and we want to build and continue to grow as a team, and Quinn is a big part of it. So obviously, the trust and the relationship Adam has with Quinn, it's important for us to get off to a good start and continue to build. But again, Quinn was not involved in this process.
Adam, Rick talked a lot about how you'd grown as a coach, coming in. There's not a lot of bench experience, obviously the Kelowna experience. But I'm just wondering about coming in as a head coach now. How have you grown? What did you not maybe know in Kelowna that you know now that will help you succeed?
Well, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Rick, because I wouldn't be here today without him. He took a flyer on me. I decided a long time ago I turned down some things right out of the gate when I retired in the NHL, and I decided that I want to be around my family and be around my kids, and I missed a lot of time. And Joe Sakic treated me great in Colorado. He let me be an assistant. He let me. I was assistant for a couple of years. I was under Turney and helped. Attorney, a good friend of mine in Utah, and I did a lot of player development, but there was a lot of growth in different areas. I got to touch on a lot of things. I think it was important that I was at different age groups, and then in Kelowna was a fantastic experience for me. Like it's different than when I played junior or when I was a young kid or I was a teenager, and not just in hockey but in sports, but today it's different how kids are. And in our time it was like, jump off that cliff. It's only 40 feet. You'll survive it, or go home to bed. Like, that's what I was treated from my parents, right? And and it's different now. You have to got to open that relationship. But Kelowna was great for me. I learned probably the most from there. Bruce Hamilton was great to be around and groom me. It was only 2 years, but it was a good experience. And that was a long time ago, and I've had some growth. And getting back to Rick, I want to say is, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a head coach when I took that job. Patrik asked me probably a year and a half ago, and Rick said to me, if you really want to be a head coach, I'll help you. And that's what I love about Rick. He really wanted, when I told him a year ago, I think I want to do this, he really wanted it for me. And we had a great conversation yesterday. I wasn't sure what was going to happen in this process, where I would be. And he is so happy for me, and I was so happy and lucky that I was under him. He taught me so much, and I owe him. He's a close friend of mine, and you know, I think he gave me speed. He excelled me, and he's that confident of a man that he felt comfortable with my strong personality around him, and I felt like we really figured out how to work together really well, and it was something that I really very thankful that I was under him.
Looking at this past season, it obviously was not a success. There was a lot of things that perhaps broke. How do you fix this team? How do you get this team to where it needs to be?
Yeah, I mean, you know, today for me, I'm just turning the page, right? Like, that's been discussed, and you guys discussed it, and we all have had discussion, and we're going to turn the page. I'm my own person. I've learned a lot from many great hockey people on my journey, and we have ideas, and we're going to apply them and get a game plan going here and move on. And you know, we want to win hockey games. We want to be a team that can compete every night. We're going to compete. We're going to be hard to play against, and we want to win. And that's what we're going to focus on and try to do every single day.
Adam, first, congratulations. Heading into this off season, what is your plan to ensure that there's communication between you and your players, not just on like conditioning, injuries, readiness, so that there are no issues heading into training camp and the regular season?
Yeah, we'll have those conversations. We'll be reaching out to the players. Already spoke with a few of them, and we'll continue those relationships and have that conversation of what's expected. And you know, they're pros. They know, but we'll make sure we dial it in. Unfortunately, we'll probably change the skate test. It might be a little bit harder, but we'll see.
Adam, congratulations, first of all. You've talked about Quinn, you've talked about Thatcher. What about Elias Pettersson? How do you approach him to get him back onto the track you think, or a lot of people believe, the player he can be?
Yeah, Petey and I had some pretty good discussions this year, and you know, I really think he wants it, and you know, I really think he knows what he has to do, and he's going to dial in, and he's got a great group around him supporting him, and you know, being a team for him, and I'm going to make sure that I have that conversation with him, and we continue that relationship, and I support him. I think with Petey, just for him moving forward, I think just that support for him will really get him in a good place, and we're going to make sure that he understands that we're there for him, and we'll do whatever it takes and have a great relationship.
For both of you as well, Patrik, we'll start with you. And difficult question, but it is one of the elephants in the room, and that is the trial that's happening right now involving Cal. And I'll ask you first. How much concern was there on the part of the organization to not want to be associated with that situation and the criticism that might come from a hire connected to that?
Well, Adam is not in trial. So obviously we respect the process that's going on, but as I said, Adam is not in the trial.
Adam, I'll ask you, and obviously I don't expect you to comment on the trial or the charges or anything like that, but you know, for you, I'm sure this has weighed on you, and did it affect your thought process in terms of wanting to wade into this right now? Because I'm sure that's taking up a certain amount of your emotional headspace, and maybe did you think that maybe this isn't the time because of that?
No, and you know, I respect your question. I understand it's your job to do that, first off. So secondly is, you know, I can't comment on the trial, and I won't. And you know, I'm there for my family, as we all would be, and you know, we'll get through this. And as far as the headspace, you know, that's not how I walk, I guess. If this is going to happen in a week or 2 weeks or in a month ago, that's life, and you keep walking, you keep moving, and you know, it had nothing to do with my decision to take this on. And I love coaching, and I love the opportunity.
Congrats, Adam. I'm sure you and Rick, because of how close you are, have pretty similar philosophies in terms of how you want the team to play and systems and instruction, all that. But I'm also sure you have, your own ideas on how you might want to tweak the way the team plays moving forward. How similar or how different do you think the team will play compared to this past season?
Well, there's a lot of great things Rick instilled. I mean, from culture to how we play, systems, how we defend, and move on and on and on. And people are probably going to talk about our offense, and you guys are pretty lucky that I was such a great offensive defenseman that I have good ideas for our offense to get better there. So, no, we'll address all those things, and it's early in the process, and we're going to have discussion with our coaches and who gets these two positions that we'll hire, and we're going to every day tweak, and that's what you do in anything. We always want to get better, and that's what we'll work on, and we'll have discussion about that.
And when you look at filling out the rest of your staff, do you look at perhaps, given the team's offensive struggles this past season, looking at maybe an assistant or two that might be more offensively focused?
Yeah, well, we need an offensive guy and we need a defensive guy, so that's what we're going to do. I think I'd like to run the D still, but I'm not sure that's the way it goes now. So I'm going to have to talk to the D coach to come in. That Huggy will be way happier between 24 and 27 minutes. So we're going to have to get the D coach and an offensive coach.
Adam, congratulations. Over the past year or two, the Canucks have accumulated a good number of young defensemen that look to be very promising. How excited are you to work with some of these players that are breaking into the NHL full time?
Yeah, I think we're real lucky to have the depth. I think defense is obviously a big part of it. I think the more you have, the better. You want the depth there, and we're very fortunate. You saw at the end of the year, we've had some great young players come in, and there's some good ones down, in the HL, and there's a couple coming up. So I love stacking the D up. You need them to win a championship, and we're doing a good job. I like where we're at with the D, and as a coach, we always want more, but I really like the D.
Patrik, just on the staffing question, can you update and maybe on Yogi, Sergei, where the Sabines are going to be?
As Adam said here, obviously this commitment to Adam came early yesterday, so we haven't really been able to sit down there. It's something we're going to do, but as he said, he was very pleased and fortunate to work with the guys that was here with the previous one. So I envision that with adding two guys potentially that will surround him, and if those guys, I would imagine we're going to talk to them and hopefully have them back here.
And then you signed Tom Melander yesterday. What can you tell us about the path forward here? I mean, are you guys looking to put him in the NHL right away? What are you looking for from him next year?
Well, first, we're very excited to get another young defenseman in here, and a player that our development staff have worked with over the last 2 years. And again, Tom is going to prepare himself and take all the right steps, so he will dictate where he's going to be. If he's ready to play in the NHL or if he needs time in the Abbotsford, that will come through training camp.
Adam, you joked about it a moment ago, your offensive contributions. You were a rock-solid defenseman in your playing days. You've coached the defense. Is it unfair to paint you sort of with this brush of that's only how you see the game?
Well, you can paint me with whatever brush you want. Like, honestly, that's okay. I think, we had discussion about this in the interview, I was very lucky. By the way, I'm going to say this. Lacrosse was my game, box lacrosse. I love that game, and I was an offensive player, just throwing that out there. I'd say when I didn't like the role I got early in my career. Mark Crawford really threw it on me, and I had a great conversation with Mark about a month ago, and every player wants to play on the power play. We all come from our minor league teams, and we're all probably a power play guy, every defenseman. And I did not like my role because I wanted to play on the power play. I want to score goals. Who doesn't want to score goals? But I remember my dad said to me, listen, you got the feet, you got the size, you can skate with them, and it's if you can really dial it in, you could do something new and you can win. And I accepted that role, and when you have that role, you get to play against the best players in the world. Paul Correa, how do I shut down his A game, his A game speed? If I'm playing against a Sakic, his A game's that shot. I'm not letting him have that shot. I approached it like, if they're going to beat me, they're beating me with their C game, not their A, not their B. And I knew what that was. You study the game, you use the people around you to help you and understand what offense is coming at you. And I knew what I was uncomfortable defending against. I knew what worked, what put me or my partner or our goaltender in a tough spot. And I did that for a living for 20 years. Very fortunate, very lucky. And I think that's a big part of it for me. I think, like I said, you can pay me with whatever brush you like. I'm a big guy. I'm a big boy. But I'm going to surround myself with the right people too. And we're going to have that deep discussion. We've got some great people here with the Sedins, and we're going to continue to keep getting better. But I would say I'm very fortunate that I had to play against those top players and shut them down, and it was a fun job. And so we've got lots of ideas how to make that offense better.
Patrik, through a couple of coaches, you have continually mentioned practice habits with your groups here. And I noticed it was in the statement again yesterday in the press release. I mean, we're months away from Adam running his first practice, but what haven't you seen from your group over the last couple of years that practice habits continues to be sort of a central theme?
Well, if you look around the league, players want to get better all the time, and to become a championship team, it's how you prepare yourself. You watch all the best players, how they prepare themselves every day in practice, then the game comes easy. And I think for our fairly young and inexperienced group in the playoffs, I do believe that that's something we're always going to push to get better and raise the bar. And when you learn the game through practice, the games come so much easier. I don't think you ever will hear me be satisfied that you can always push the bar, and I think that's what our players now are craving. They want to get better. I saw when my first year here, when we missed the playoffs, the morale around the exit meetings was, it's too bad we missed it. This year, I could say this sincerely, we're disappointed because it was, in my opinion, a year we should have been better if we were healthy. I think the players starting to understand if you want to play in the topper part of the league, that it's required a certain level of fitness, it requires a certain level of preparation every day to get there. And I'm very pleased with the staff we have here in Vancouver and Abbotsford and our development staff that are sending the same message to the players to get better. So it's definitely something that Adam and his staff will continue to push the players and educate the players and coach the players to get better.